Hungry mechanical, value, responsibility, righteous, straightforward.
Let's talk now about the 7 wastes. These are the things we can look for when we are analysing our value stream map. The type of waste we find gives us clues about what kind of problems we're facing. Once we understand these properly, we'll be in a much better position to think about the lean tools we need to use and why. Now, this is a very important point. You see, what we hear a lot of when we talk to people about lean is, yeah, we tried lean a while back, but used all the tools and they just didn't work. The sad thing is that not only are these organisations never going to reap the benefits of lean, they will never reap the benefit from any improvement methodology because they didn't take the time to think about what tool sets they needed to use. By understanding clearly what the issues are before we begin, we can avoid stonewalling our efforts and concluding that lean doesn't work, or at least not for us. Imagine if you pulled all the tools out of an actual toolbox every time you had a job to do, whether it was to hang a picture on the wall, fix a leaky tap, or repair a broken chair leg. Now that might sound like an absurd example. After all, nobody is that silly. But this is the equivalent behaviour of a manager who isn't happy with his current level of performance and insists on doing everything at once in order to fix the problem. So now we'll go through the 7 wastes one at a time, and you will start to understand how they provide some ideas about what kind of improvements we should consider, at least to begin with, and what to look for within your value stream map. Overproduction. This is often referred to as the mother of all wastes. It is quite simply producing more of something than is required, which of course includes anything before it's required. It's easy to imagine how obvious this is on a processing line, and we've all seen discounted goods at the end of a season in a store, like Christmas decorations in January or outdoor furniture at the onset of winter, but there are some good examples in the service arena too. It could be an extra flight between 2 cities that doesn't have enough passengers, or 2 taxis accidentally turning up for 1 customer. It could be hundreds of blank forms being photocopied by 2 office staff that didn't realise the other was doing it already, or the office cleaner who diligently waters the plants in the waiting room every night, even when they don't need to be. Waiting or queuing. This is when a process has stopped because it needs something before it can continue. Sometimes, if this takes long enough, it might be recognised as downtime. In a manufacturing environment, we might be waiting for parts or materials to arrive before we can continue. In a service environment, we are often waiting for information. It could be waiting for a software system to load, or a fax or email from another department. Quite often, our customers are quite directly involved with a service-based process, and they are directly affected by any waiting or idling that has incurred. And it's very hard for customers to see any value in being made to wait for their bank manager, the doctor, or even a cheeseburger. Transport. This includes any unnecessary movement of product, information or materials. Transport of any sort consumes resources and should be eliminated where possible. Whether it's a conveyor belt, a trolley or an 18-wheeler semi, it takes up space, uses energy, fuel for example, or time. The equipment we use for transportation not only uses these things while being used, but can require capital to acquire and cost us to clean, repair and maintain. And transportation usually creates an opportunity for our product, plant, equipment, or even our people to sustain some sort of damage. Extra processing. This can be referred to as rework in some instances, but extra processing also describes any unnecessary process step that does not add any value to the customer. In other words, the product or service will achieve its purpose and satisfy the customer even if this step is not carried out. This could be assemblies left to cure longer than required, or food items being blast frozen for an hour when it reaches the required temperature in 20 minutes. It could be a client or patient information that is duplicated unnecessarily. Inventory. Inventory includes anything we have invested resources into that we have not yet received any income for. It could be parts, ingredients or finished product in transport or storage. These types of inventory can lead to space, labour and energy being required to store, monitor and maintain. In a service-based process, people, usually customers again, can also be inventory, as they themselves are the units of work in process. Not only do these inventory units require resources to store and manage, like waiting rooms, coffee, magazine, etc., they can also become much harder to satisfy the longer they wait through non-value adding parts of the process. When the inventory is visible, like a drive-through queue full of cars or a line at the counter, it may well send customers away without us ever being aware of it. Motion. This is any extra movement caused by having to obtain information, materials or equipment, etc. because of poor layout or the lack of their availability. This could be reaching further than needed to do a repetitive task, walking to a printer, looking for an available nurse, crossing the workshop twice after realising you had the wrong size spanner the first time, or my favourite, looking for a pen so your customer can fill out the form you just gave them. Defects. A defect occurs when a process is not right first time. Defects cause most of the other wastes: extra motion to get a replacement, extra processing to correct the error, more inventory to ensure the process doesn't stop every time a defect occurs. A defect could be an error on a document, an incorrect account number or billing statement. A latent defect is one which we are unaware of at the time and therefore reaches the customer. Obviously, we only become aware after the event, and often from an unhappy customer. A dissatisfied customer can jeopardise sales and cost us in the form of warranty claims, damage control effort, and compensation. And these effects can be irreversible. This is not an exhaustive list, and you can see how some problems can belong to more than one waste type, and also how some can cause others. As we've already gone through the 7 measures of lean, you will be able to identify and understand how wastes can help lead business improvement. Pollution, noise, energy, and complexity are also put forward as types of waste by some organisations. These are legitimate forms of waste too, and can make good targets for elimination as part of an improvement drive. In most cases though, these things are reduced or eliminated by addressing the 7 we have just discussed. Another form of waste that is often talked about is underutilised human potential. If we had to pick an 8th waste to join the other 7 in the Waste Hall of Fame, this one would be it. This is an important point to consider. If you are contemplating creating a lean environment, it does well to remember that lean focuses strongly on cross-functional teamwork, standardising tasks, making decisions and resolving issues at the point closest to where the value is being added, where the actual work is being done. These methodologies facilitate and promote personal development, which is critical in creating a truly lean culture.
Hung to be mechanical, value, responsibility, righteous, straightforward.